And man, we are so excited to welcome in one of the newest members of the Las Vegas Raiders, Jeremy Chinn. Jeremy, congratulations, man. An exciting day here in the building. So let's kind of zoom out a little bit. What about this situation in Las Vegas with this defense made sense for you at this point in your career?
Yeah, well, one, thank you. Thank you for the welcome. But, for me, it was really a no-brainer. Just coming out here, being a part of this defense and kind of what Coach Carroll, how his vision was for me and the role that he saw for me. And then, obviously being in this organization, like it's so historic, and being in Las Vegas and this area, being in Nevada, it's a great place in the country.
Obviously, I think most casual NFL fans saw a lot of the Commanders last year on this incredible run that you guys went on. But, what are the fans here getting? What kind of player are you? If you had to describe your style of play to someone who didn't know what you brought to the table, how would you kind of describe it?
Violent. I would say
that
violent.
Works, yeah.
Physical, unpredictable, and fast.
We hear so many of the characteristics that Coach Carroll and Coach Graham are looking for in players defensively, right? Doesn't matter if you're, closer to the line of scrimmage or DB, whatever it is. And it all feels like it are kind of like those adjectives that you just brought up for yourself. When you had a chance, I don't know if you've had a chance to talk to Coach Graham kind of in depth yet, but when you look from afar at what he's been able to do defensively these past couple of years here in Las Vegas, what about his system kind of excites you?
Yeah, I love how he uses his safeties. He really blitzes those guys, so I'll be excited to be a part of that.
Is that, for a guy in your position, is that part of the fun, is being able to blitz, being a playmaker? Obviously, all safeties kind of want to get their hands on the football, have a chance to make plays that way, but is it exciting for you to, like you said, have that opportunity to be a little more involved closer to the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, it's nice. When you can present that threat, but also be able to do different things from, different areas and locations around the defense.
We hear so often, and especially at the end of last year with so many changes in the Raiders secondary, and look, the Raiders were, like a lot of teams in the NFL, you have to go 1 to 53 on that roster, right? Everyone loves to go 1 to 22, those starters on each side of the ball, but, the depth was really tested. But we heard so often towards the end of the year about the safeties really being kind of the quarterback of this defense. Obviously, you have a great perception of everything, but what about that? How is that role going to fit you in terms of communicating with the other guys on that defense?
Yeah, I see myself. I take a lot of pride in the way that I communicate and the way that, I interact with my teammates, on the field and off the field. I always believe that, the defense is ran by the secondary. It starts in the back end, and the safeties are the quarterback of the defense, and it really gets everybody, where they're supposed to be lined up and on the same page. Because, usually the safeties and the DBs are the ones communicating the coverage calls and communicating, certain rotations. So, I take a lot of pride in that, and I always see that's how it is and how it should be.
Is that something you can get better at as you progress in the league, that communication, that effective way of getting guys where they need to be?
Yeah, I think you could definitely you get better at everything. I think so, but yeah, you can improve in that.
We look at this Raiders secondary going into 2025 now, and it's such a unique group, a lot of young pieces, right? Yourself included, but you're a dude who's been in the league now for a minute, and I want to say you're the old grizzled vet, because by no means are you that, but you're a guy who's played a lot of football in the NFL. You're a guy who's found a lot of success individually and on a team level. How do you kind of come into this situation, knowing there's a lot of young dudes here, right? Trying to find their way a little bit. Mm-hmm. How do you kind of balance that? Hey, I'm still a young guy, but I've got some pelts on the wall a little bit.
Yeah, like you said, I'm going into year 6 now. I know there will be a lot of guys in the room where I've been in their positions. I've been the rookie. I've been the new guy. I've been, maybe the guy who doesn't get the attention that he may feel like he wants and is hungry. So, I feel like I can relate to a lot of people that'll be in that room. So, I'm excited to just be able to connect with everybody.
And who are the guys for you? Like you said, I was a young guy, a dude that maybe wasn't getting the kind of shine that you thought you deserved. Who are the guys for you that kind of help build you up and get you through those early times in the league?
Last year Bobby Wagner was a big help for me. Just talking to him, I feel like I learned so much from him, just through his experiences and, some of the things, just the way he came to work and how he would take care of his body. And, Just certain things, just how he moved. You know, I learned a lot from him. So, you know, most recently, I'd probably say him.
And Bobby Wagner, a guy who's very familiar with the new head coach here, too, found a lot of success with Pete. But, you know, I'm glad you brought up last year's experience. And obviously, you know better than I that each season in the NFL is its own thing, right? It's its own living, breathing organism. But, like, what can you take away from the success that you all found last year? What are the transferable skills that you see that you can bring here to Las Vegas?
I would just say there's the consistency aspect. I think one thing that I learned about myself was just like staying consistent throughout the season, whether that be, you know, physically or the way that I study, the way I prepare.
You know, I'm curious, too, like, you look at the quarterbacks in this division, right? You know, you got Mahomes, you got Herbert. Bo Nix has a great kind of rookie campaign. For a DB, though, like, that's got to be exciting that, hey, week in and week out, I'm going to see these guys 6 times a year.
Yeah, it's only going to bring the best out of me, so I'm excited.
Yeah, and that really, like I said, it feels like that's kind of one of the major themes of Coach Carroll's time here is compete, right? We've heard him say it a ton. We've been talking about a lot, the ability to compete, the need to compete to get better week in and week out. Well, man, before I let you go, you kind of talked about at the top, just how excited are you to get to Vegas, right? Like a new experience for you, a new city, a new environment, a new stadium. Like, this got to be pretty fun to come to Vegas here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like this is a great place to kind of, you know, get your feet settled and get started. You know, no state income tax in Nevada. I know the housing market out here is nice, so yeah, I'm excited to be a part of it. Excited to be a part of this city. And this organization as a whole, man.
Yeah, man, we're excited to have you. So congratulations, man. Like I said, a really exciting day here in the building. We're happy to have you here. Best of luck the rest of the way, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Yeah, appreciate it.